My name is Madison, and in this sound study I will be discussing the effects of sound design in Quentin Tarantino films. Unconsciously, every sword slash, money count, and briefcase flip is a cue to you, the viewer, that something is important. Throughout this video, I will reference authors Michael Chion and Kim Cohen to help critically analyze sound in Tarantino's films. Evidently, Tarantino has unprecedented talent at implementing sonic aspects in his films. I'm going to attempt to answer how he makes such an impact with sound. Take a look at this scene from Inglourious Basterds that introduces a character reputable of violence, Donnie.
If you still respectfully refuse, I'm calling the bear Jew over. He's gonna take that big bat of his, and he's gonna beat your ass to death with it.
Fuck you. And your Jew dogs!
Been watching Donnie beat Nazis to death as close as we ever get to going to the movies. Donnie!
Yeah?
Guy's German here wants to die for country. Oblige him.
In Chion's article, he discusses the concept of acousmatic sound, which is sound that one hears without seeing its source. He goes on to discuss the idea that hearing is both auditory and psychological. He argues that there are other aspects to hearing than simply sound, and he explains the different types of listening. These different ways of listening impact one's perception of the sound. Chion writes that acousmatic sound draws our attention to sound traits normally hidden from us by the stimulation site of the causes. Hidden because this site reinforces the perception of certain elements of the sound and obscures others. The acousmatic truly allows sound to reveal itself in all its dimensions. Without having a visual of the character Donnie himself, the viewer is forced to listen acousmatically. Hearing the clanks of Donnie's club installs fear, and the addition of Mexican standoff music sets the tone that a violent altercation is about to ensue. There's a possibility here that Tarantino acknowledged the McGurk effect, which happens in the brain as visual cues outweigh the importance of auditory cues. This means that the brain will favor the visual and change the auditory to align with the visual information instead of vice versa. In understanding this, Tarantino uses a lack of visual in describing Donnie, but rather sonic cues instead. Quentin Tarantino's movies are associated with exciting visual imagery and engaging dialogues between colorful characters. But like in most films, the use of sound in his films too gets overlooked. Listen closely in this dialogue between Shoshana and Landa. Just the sound of conversation blocking out the rest of the restaurant's sounds heightens the effect of visuals and narrative.
Appartenait à ma tante et à mon oncle.
Comment s'appelle-t-il?
Jean-Pierre et Ada Migneux.
Où sont-ils à présent?
Mon oncle a été tué pendant la Blindstream.
Oh, navré. Continuez.
Tante Ada est morte de fièvre au printemps.
In his book, In the Blink of an Ear, Kim Cohen discusses the emergence of non-cochlear sound art in recent decades. This genre of art, he explains, brings our attention to the ways in which sound can be listened through rather than listened at. In this sense, he intends to shift our focus away from the perceived solidity of sound in itself to emphasize the ways in which sound serves as a relational medium for ideas, practices, and expanded situations. Emphasizing that sound is a process rather than a stable product, he uses examples of sound art to illustrate the manipulability of the sound practices to convey different meanings.
Il y avait une autre chose que je voulais vous demander.
Tarantino's films are easily considered pieces of art. Non-cochlear sound is especially emphasized in this scene as the only sounds are the two characters speaking and eating the strudel. This moment in *Inglourious Bastards* became so famous for its visual euphoria and narrative. There is even a YouTube post outlining how to recreate the same strudel. Breaking a movie down to its bare bones is very hard to do. With layers upon layers and only seeing so many things in the first pass, it's easy to miss something so simple. Sound is one we seem to always miss, yet it plays a pivotal role in all of movie making today. Tarantino has perfected his craft with a portfolio of movies filled with over-the-top fight scenes and dramatic plots, but sound is one I almost forgot. With ideas accredited to Cheon and Kim Cohen, one can get a further glimpse as to how Tarantino movies are so powerfully created with sonic use. The sound of chains against the neck or a bullet flying through someone's body, things we may have never come close to experiencing in real life, are brought forth to help us feel the real moments in his films.